I grew peppers the same way most people do. Plant the seedling. Harvest 5 or 6 peppers. Watch the plant collapse. Pull it up. Start over. Every single season. For years. Then I visited a small farm and met an 81-year-old man who had pepper plants that had been producing nonstop for over 2 years. Not 5 or 6 peppers and done. Continuous fruit. Week after week. I asked him what his secret was. He said, "It's not a secret. It's a technique. Pepper plants can produce all year long if you know how to work with them." He showed me something so simple, so logical, I couldn't believe I'd never heard it before. I went home and applied exactly what he taught me. That was 2 years ago. I have not replanted a single pepper plant since. I harvest fresh peppers every week, and I'm going to show you exactly how. The mistake almost everyone makes. Here's the belief that costs most gardeners years of frustration. Pepper plants are seasonal crops. You plant them in spring, harvest through summer, and when they start looking tired, you pull them up and throw them away. That belief is wrong. Pepper plants are perennials. With the right care, a single plant can produce for 3, for even 5 years without ever being replaced. The man from Sinaloa showed me one of his plants and said, "That one is 4 years old. It has never stopped producing." So why do most pepper plants stop producing after a few harvests? Because we misread what the plant is telling us. After the first round of fruit, the plant looks tired. Leaves start to yellow. Some stems weaken. Growth slows. Most people look at this and think it's dying. Time to start over. But the plant isn't dying. It's asking for something. What it needs isn't to be removed. It needs renewal. And that's an entirely different response. The technique, renewal pruning. This is the core of everything. The single most important thing the old farmer taught me, and the thing almost no one does. It's called renewal pruning. And yes, the first time you do it, it will feel like you're destroying your plant. You're not. You are resetting it. Here's when to do it. After the first major harvest, usually about 2 months after transplanting, once the plant has produced its first fruits and is beginning to show signs of slowing down. At that moment, take a pair of sharp, clean pruning shears and cut the main branches back by approximately half. Not a gentle trim, a real cut. The goal is to force the plant to push out vigorous new growth from the cut points. Make each cut just above node, the point on the stem where leaves or side shoots emerge. A slight angle helps water run off and the wound heal faster. Remove any yellowing leaves, dry branches, and weak shoots while you're at it. When you're finished, the plant will look almost bare. That moment is uncomfortable if you've never done it before. It looks like damage. It is not damage. It is the beginning of the next phase. Within days, new shoots begin to appear at the cut points. Within 2 weeks, the plant looks completely different. New leaves come in greener and more active. Young shoots have more capacity to support flowering. The plant is now building its next round of production on an already established root system, which means it has far more strength behind it than a seedling ever would. 45 to 60 days after pruning, new flowers appear, then fruit. And here's the part that changes everything. This is not a one-time event. It is a cycle. Every time a production phase ends and the plant begins to fatigue, you repeat the pruning. You don't let it decline for months. You don't wait until it looks truly sick. You act early, keep it young, and it keeps producing. This is how you turn a plant most people would discard into a continuous food source. The Stagger system. Once you understand that a single plant can cycle through pruning and production repeatedly, the next step is to multiply that logic. Don't prune all your plants at the same time. If you have 3 plants, and I'd recommend starting with 3, stagger the pruning by 1 month each. Prune the first in January, the second in February, the third in March. When April arrives, the first plant is already producing again. The second is flowering. The third is just sending out new shoots. What this means in practice, while one plant is resting and regrowing, another is actively fruiting. You're never waiting. You're never without peppers. This is not complicated. It requires no special equipment, no expensive products, no expertise. It requires observation, timing, and patience. The man from Sinaloa didn't use any chemicals or specialized fertilizers. He managed his plants and cycles and read their signals. That was the entire system. Getting the foundation right. For this system to work over years, the plant needs to start strong. Many people undermine long-term production before it ever begins by making simple setup mistakes. Pot size matters more than most people realize. If you're growing in containers, use something at least 16 inches wide and 16 inches deep. Pepper plants need room for their root system to expand. A cramped root system limits everything above ground: growth, flowering, and fruit production. The soil matters just as much. Pepper plants need rich, loose soil that holds moisture without becoming waterlogged. A mix of garden soil, compost or worm castings, and a portion of coarse sand or perlite works extremely well. Compost provides organic matter. Worm castings feed the soil's microbial life. Sand prevents compaction. Add a slow-release phosphorus source like bone meal at planting time to encourage strong root development. Planting depth is something few guides mention. If you bury part of the stem up to the base of the first leaves, the buried section can develop additional roots, creating a significantly stronger foundation for the whole plant. Light is non-negotiable. Pepper plants need at least 6 hours of direct sun per day. In partial shade, they can survive, but production drops dramatically. If you're growing indoors or in a low-light spot, your results will always be limited regardless of how well you manage everything else. Support the plant early. A simple stake placed when the plant is young prevents damage later when it's carrying a full load of fruit. Don't wait until it's bending under the weight to intervene. Feeding the cycle. A pruning stimulates regrowth. But if the soil is depleted, the plant has nothing to draw from. Fertilization is the second pillar of this system, and it follows the pruning cycle directly. Immediately after each pruning, give the plant a recovery feed. The plant is about to push out new shoots and needs available nutrients to do it. A combination of worm castings, a small amount of bone meal, and a little wood ash applied around the base works exceptionally well. Worm castings provide gentle nitrogen and microbial life. Bone meal provides phosphorus and calcium. Ash provides potassium and trace minerals. Water thoroughly after applying. About 2 weeks later, when new shoots are visibly emerging, reinforce with additional organic matter. During this vegetative phase, the plant needs nitrogen, but not in excess. You want balanced growth, not a plant that produces enormous leaves but no fruit. When flowers begin to appear, shift your focus. Reduce nitrogen inputs and increase phosphorus and potassium. This transition signals to the plant to invest in flowering and fruit development rather than continuing to build green structure. During fruit development, potassium becomes the priority. It directly influences fruit filling, flavor, firmness, and overall quality. If you have access to a liquid organic fertilizer or compost tea, a diluted monthly application with watering provides a significant and consistent boost throughout the season. The daily details that define everything. The big interventions, pruning, fertilizing, happen periodically, but between them, consistent small habits separate a thriving plant from one that just survives. Water consistently, not dramatically. Pepper plants do not handle sudden swings well. Alternating between drought and heavy watering causes dropped flowers, misshapen fruit, and irregular growth. The goal is even moisture, with the top few inches of soil allowed to dry between waterings. Remove aging material regularly. Yellowing leaves, dry branches, and damaged sections should come off, not just for appearance, but because they stop contributing and can become entry points for disease. Harvest on time. A pepper can be picked green once it reaches full size or left to ripen to its final color. Both are valid. What you should avoid is leaving overripe peppers on the plant for too long. The plant continues investing energy in fruit that has already completed its cycle, which delays the next round of flowering. Regular harvesting tells the plant, this phase is done, start the next one. Use shears to harvest, not your hands. Yanking fruit can damage the stem and stress the plant. Cut with a small section of stem still attached to the pepper. Check for pests weekly. Look at tender new growth and the undersides of leaves. Aphids, whiteflies, and mites are much easier to manage when caught early. A diluted potassium soap spray or neem oil application at the first sign of a problem is usually sufficient. An established infestation is a different situation entirely. Reading the plant. Part of what makes this system work over the long term is learning to interpret what the plant communicates. If the plant doesn't regrow vigorously after pruning, it usually means it lacked sufficient nutrients going in, or there's a watering issue at the root level. If flowers appear but drop off before forming fruit, look at water consistency, temperature extremes, or poor air circulation preventing pollination. If fruit comes in small or misshapen, there's typically a nutritional imbalance or irrigation irregularity. None of these signals mean the method isn't working. They mean the plant is telling you something specific, and the faster you learn its language, the more stable your harvests become. Why this matters beyond the garden. The man from Sinaloa didn't talk about this as a gardening technique. He talked about it as a way of seeing. He said most people discard plants the same way they discard most things. The moment something looks tired, they assume it's finished. But tiredness and death are not the same thing. Fatigue is not the end. It is a request. A pepper plant that stops producing after a few harvests isn't broken. It is waiting for someone who knows what to do next. This method doesn't require spending more money. It doesn't require more time or complicated routines. It requires understanding the plant well enough to intervene at the right moment in the right way. That knowledge, the kind that lives in the hands of people who have spent decades watching the earth, is exactly the kind that gets lost when we stop paying attention to it. Most of what gets shared about gardening today is about products. What to buy, which fertilizer, which soil blend, which tool, and all of that can be useful. But the thing that actually determines whether a plant thrives over years is something simpler and harder to sell: understanding how it works. The pepper plant does not need to be replaced every season. It never did. The idea that it's a seasonal crop is not botanical reality. It's a habit built partly from impatience and partly from never having seen what a well-managed perennial pepper plant actually looks like. Now you have, and once you see it, you cannot go back to the old approach. 3 plants, staggered pruning, consistent feeding, patient observation. That's the whole system. No expensive inputs, no special seeds, no secret formula from a bottle. Just a correct relationship with a plant that has been trying to produce for you, if only someone would give it the chance. The plant the old farmer pointed to, the one he said was 4 years old, had never been replanted. It had been renewed, over and over. And each time, it came back stronger than it looked like it could. That's the lesson, not just for pepper plants. If this changed how you think about your garden, hit the like button. It takes 1 second, and it tells the platform that this kind of content is worth sharing. Drop a comment and tell me, do you have a pepper plant right now? How long has it been producing? Have you ever tried Renewal pruning? I read every comment, and the conversations that happen here are half the reason I keep making these. Subscribe if you want more content like this, practical, rooted in real observation, built for people who want to grow more without spending more. And share this with someone who just pulled up a pepper plant that probably had years left in it. See you in the next one.